Can I ask a question?
No, unless you come this side. You have to swap and then.
But I
yes,
don't
of course you can ask me a question. Yes.
So neat is being.
No. Do you feel like for outsiders, do they have to work harder?
Yes, they do. If you don't perform, they are actually not accepting you anymore. It is only in India that people roll out of bed and say, I'm an actor.
Talent is important, but there are other things. For example, just
100%.
resilience.
Like the film called Monica, Oh My Darling. In Anurag Kashyap world, I'm the hot girl.
Yeah.
But if there was another kind of a makeup, they wouldn't even think of me. But maybe 5 kgs too heavy to be a mainstream heroine. And I'm just like...
But you can't say that today also.
It's crazy because we are eventually a country that is so crazily obsessed with fairer skin. We love the gori chitti ladki.
No, I don't have to look like a cookie cutter to have longevity in my career.
Yeah.
Experience, even if I had the money, I could afford a particular kind of stylist. Sometimes they didn't want to work with me.
Do you find that on set, men are applauded and women are told to tone it down a little bit?
I felt that every single time you've actually stood up for yourself, it's actually
It
been
feels
better.
great.
It feels
Yeah,
great.
it feels
I
great.
walked away saying, I'm so glad I'm not doing that film. Screw you. या तो role कमाल का है. Otherwise,
The money has
just
to
give
be
me so
right.
much money that I'm not questioning you.
Do you feel that after MeToo, there has been a change?
It was important for people that are in power to feel a little bit scared.
I can't ask, what you think was terribly miscast. So today's conversation is for every girl who has looked at the screen and thought, one day, that could be me. What does it really take to become a successful actor? And what does it cost emotionally? And how do you survive the journey without losing yourself? Because becoming a female actor in Bollywood without connections, without security, it's not just a career choice. It's actually an emotional, a financial, and a mental gamble. For women, I think the journey is even tougher. It can certainly feel that way. There are beauty standards, there's age pressure, typecasting, and the constant need to fit into someone else's idea of what a heroine should be. Hello and welcome to All About Her, a space where we have honest and meaningful conversations about women's health, wellness, happiness, and self-care. And today we're going to discuss the reality behind becoming a female actor in Bollywood. Our first guest today is someone whose journey is built on resilience. She didn't walk in as a stereotype. She didn't fit into a ready-made mold, but what she had was presence. She had depth and the courage to choose roles that had substance over glamour. She's faced comparisons, industry standards, and perhaps a pressure that comes with being a woman on screen. But I think that she's carved a space that she can safely call entirely her own. And she is my friend, the incredibly talented Huma Qureshi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
At what point did you guess I was talking about you?
She's talking about me, right? Now.
We have a second guest with us, and that is someone who I think most aspiring actors never see on screen, but she's one of the most important people in their journey. She sits on the other side of the audition room and she watches dreams walk in every day. She has seen confidence, she's seen heartbreak, she's seen raw talent, nervous hope, all in a matter of minutes. So please welcome casting director Panchami Gharvi. Thank you so much for being here, both of you. I think it's a really nice combination of people. I know you've had these conversations many times before, but I wanted to take you back a little bit to the beginning, the fact that you came from Delhi, and now everyone, of course, talks about this insider-outsider kind of paradigm. When you first came and you did gangs, and what did you find most surprising about the industry? Was there like a lack of access? Did you feel like someone who had connections, doors opened for them more easily? What were you most surprised by?
Everything. I always say this, like, you're so naive when you start out your journey. I just thought, like, I'm going to walk into a room, do, like, a great audition, and I'm going to become, like, boom, Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah.
But it's not so simple. Of course, you have to be good at your job. You need to have the talent. You need to have the skill set. You need to be a hard worker. But it's also a lot about understanding the lay of the land, like knowing who to call when something goes down. Knowing, like, literally just understanding things on a film set. I'd never been to a film set in my life before.
Yeah.
So I think I tell my friends now, the Nepo babies, that, what I actually just miss is the fact that certain things I took 10 years to learn.
Yeah.
For you, it was just something that you just grew up
around
all the time. And that is something, it's something you can't grudge people. It is what it is. You can't choose the family you sort of, are born into.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it was about just understanding access, understanding maybe, just navigating the whole human space. I think that's the more complicated part of it. I still think I'm sort of still figuring it out.
But was there, when you came here, did you have some kind of support system? Was there someone you knew to call? Did you have friends who were already part of the industry and you were like, oh, for them it's a lot easier?
I had a few friends who were from theatre and now they were sort of in Mumbai, but no, nobody really sort of who had made it or I could call and be like, hey, but a lot of people were like, hey, if you're ever hungry, come, we'll feed you a hot meal. घर का खाना खिला देंगे. तो वैसे बहुत सारे दोस्त थे, but no, not really anybody who was from the business. So I kind of literally would walk into the studios in Aram Nagar, audition after audition. I had a bag in which I had a black dress like this, which was my Western look, and a white shirt and a jeans and a kurta that I had kept aside, which I would not touch. Those were like my audition clothes that I would only wear for an audition because they were like whites and blacks and your basics that you are just using for those. And I would literally had that little bag packed, and whenever I would get like those text messages, I would be like, okay, let's go to Aram Nagar, studio number, whatever, and like do that audition. And sometimes change behind some little shoddy curtain over there. So I think my journey was literally like walking into rooms and doing auditions and getting those callbacks. And I think for me, the real journey began after Gangs because I had never thought that far. I thought I just want to do one film.
Really?
Yeah, I just want to do one film. I didn't know, like, I thought that was such an impossible dream. But once that happened, and I was really fortunate that, it went to Cannes, it had a great reception. Now I'm like, अच्छा, अब क्या करना है? इतना तो सोचा भी नहीं था कि यहाँ तक पहुँच जाएंगे. So that was, I think, then I had to really sort of,
have a plan.
Yeah, then I needed to make a plan as I sort of went along. But no, there were lots of confusing days, and there still are many confusing days. But I think the maza is to sort of just keep exploring. And I think both Saqib and I, we really pride ourselves in the fact that all the relationships we have made are because of who we are as people and not because of where we come from. Yeah. And then, that is really important to us, and which also I think is, reflects on the body of work that we have or just who we are as people.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, Panchami, because there is this big inside-outsider thing now. And I feel like a little bit there's been a shift. And at some point, people would say, oh, it's an asset to know people. It's an asset to be related to people. And now I feel like people are trying to distance themselves from as much legacy or connection that there is. And there's a lot of focus now on this person has come in, made it by themselves. There's talent, there's raw talent, there's no one helping you. I feel like things like nepotism are not just specific to our industry in terms of actors.
Of course.
It's a lot about just as a child, you watch your parents do something and you draw kind of affinity for that, and you may be drawn to that. Also, your world becomes a little bit more narrower as a result, which is why doctors and lawyers and lawyers.
It's everywhere.
But now, it's nice to see that it's not certainly required or necessarily even an advantage. Whether it becomes a disadvantage or not is a separate subject. But do you feel like for outsiders, do they have to work harder, do you think?
I think I'd be lying if I said no. So yes, they do, because I think the thing with people that come from film backgrounds or families that have anything to do with film is that they definitely get a foot in the door. And I think from where I stand and what I do, it's really hard to get a foot in the door. So would I call that a privilege? For sure I will. I will say that it is a privilege. But are we in a time which makes me so happy to say this today or any other day, right now in 2026 or 2025, is that doesn't matter if you have talent. Yes, we are there. Like we took so much time to get here. We were a predominantly like glamour-based industry. Are we a talent-based industry now? Yes, we are. And does that make me really happy for someone that does the job behind the camera? It makes me really, really happy to see that we have shifted a bit. And you can come from a film family, but you've got to show that you have talent.
Right.
And if you don't have talent, the audience knows. They are connecting differently than they did 10 years ago. So they know when you can't, I mean, they'll give you all that attention with the paparazzi and all of that, but like eventually you have to come in a film or in a OTT show and you have to perform. If you don't perform, they're actually not accepting you anymore. And I think that is really what we work so hard to get to, right? We worked so many years to get to a point where talent speaks for itself. And isn't it amazing to be in a time like this?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, Huma, if you feel that that's more true of OTT space than theatrical, or?
Both
think that
actually.
it's
Both actually. And I'm sure you'll agree. Like I think we've seen the whole cycle of like, from not having Instagram to now Instagram or social media becoming such a huge aspect of how we as a film business, whether it's promotions of films or now there's this whole meme campaign conversations or like, all of that, to certain people being cast because they have certain number of followers. Like, there was this huge trend, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense just because you're popular by
trend
doing.
is over now?
I don't know. I mean,
I think they're retracting.
They're retracting because it's not really resulting in great performances or bums on the seat, as they say.
Yeah. I don't know. They feel like, oh, marketable face. Look,
but what does that even mean? What does that even? I don't even know what that means. Like someone's cute to look at. Okay, great. Someone's funny. You like the way someone dresses or does their get ready with me kind of a video. Which is fine. Like I watch a lot of people, but would I necessarily want to watch them perform a character? And I think that's where the big difference is. In casting, and I've always said this, even when I started my journey, I feel it's such a complicated thing, right? Sometimes you get cast for not reasons that are not necessarily talent based. It could be just because you're the hot person on the scene right now. And
actually,
I'm like,
there's so many more variables to being casted in a part, right? I think talent is definitely like the bigger thing. But is it true that sometimes we are like, are they looking nice together? Is this like, do their heights fit? Do they make like a good frame? So it's not always that. It's not, sure, it's talent, like I would say maybe 80%. But there is a 20% that is other things, like how people look together on screen, what their vibe is with each other. Sometimes it can be something as silly and stupid as height. Like
that's so stupid, right?
Yeah, it is stupid.
And also, what I don't understand is like number of followers say you performing a certain part ka koi talmel nahi hai. Like it has no like, it has no logic. But people have been cast because of that.
But tell me about the height thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like even in the
suddenly it's like, wait, tell me about the height thing. Did I miss out on something because of
that? You mean like Jaya Ji and Mr. Bachchan?
No, I'm just saying like sometimes.
Like, would you cast them in real life? That's what I think. That's the question, right? Like, in real life you would, but on of course.
No, I'm just saying like sometimes it's also how people look together. It's not only, sure, it's about talent, but we do sometimes when you're casting, you are like, are these like, is this frame looking nice? It feels like really shallow to say that, but it's the truth.
No, you're selling a dream.
Yeah, we're like eventually we're like,
something.
is this looking like a nice like pair?
But see, I didn't have that. So when I was cast in my first film, I was working opposite an actor, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, who was much shorter than me, much tinier than me. Actually, he was so tiny that he made me look unnecessarily large. And then people met me, actually आप इतने लंबे नहीं हो. मैंने कहा हाँ, because मेरा co-actor इतना छोटा है.
No,
so that also.
Obviously, I'm not saying that happens every time, but I'm just saying that I think when an actor walks into an audition, they think that it's only one thing, but it's actually many more things.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say largely.
Yes. But I'm saying even on screen and off screen, I think maybe perhaps to be a successful actor, talent is important, but there are other things, for example, just
100%.
resilience.
100%.
There are a lot of people who may not be able to hack it. Even the instant popularity that can come, and to know that may last, it may not last, to be able to wear your fame comfortably, to not let it get to your head, to manage your finances responsibly, to live alone, to navigate all that. There's a lot that goes into it.
Because because as a society, we're so obsessed with the idea of overnight successes that, oh my God, this one did that film and now boom, they are like
They've arrived.
They've arrived.
Yeah.
But there's years of hard work, and what actually we do a disservice to is trying to sell the point. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
What do you feel for you? Has it been like sprinty or marathony?
It's been sprint, stop, sprint. Like everybody else. Like even I thought that, like it was going
not
to be
like everybody. Your journey is certainly not like everybody else's.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit unusual, I would say. I would give myself that. But no, there've been days I've been like, I felt top of the world, or moments when I've had my sort of things. And there are times I've had to go back and be like, okay, who really am I?
Yeah.
And I felt like when I was younger, I did have that pressure of trying to be a certain kind of a heroine.
Yeah.
Because that's what people understood, or that's what other people were trying to do. But today, I think I've earned a space for myself, and I'm like, okay, if I have to play a particular character and it could be like a hot chick in a movie, I would do it, but I would do it my way. I'm not going to try and become like XYZ.
But when you said like this idea of you like expand on some adjectives, like what that meant. And
Like, I'll give you an example. I did a film called Monica, Oh My Darling, and I was joking
Love the
with.
film.
yeah,
thank
I
you.
know.
So good.
I was joking with Vasan and Sridham that, in your world or in Anurag Kashyap world, I'm the hot girl.
Yeah.
But if there was another kind of a maker, probably they wouldn't even think of me because I
Right.
don't fit into their idea of what a mainstream heroine would look like. And I've
Right.
had that from my first film.
Right.
I've had a reviewer write rubbish about me, and it's painful, right? When you're starting a journey, you don't know anybody. You're
leading and you're
leading,
heart
and
to heart.
someone to just like casually mention in a review, oh, Huma Qureshi is lovely, but she's maybe 5 kgs too heavy to be a mainstream heroine, and I'm just like,
But you can't say that today. Also, people wouldn't even.
I think pure people say a lot of shit today,
Yeah,
even, and if they don't say it out loud, they actually think it, and I feel that's not really cool because who's to say? Like, I feel there were a lot of people who perhaps started with me, and I think I've done fairly okay for myself. Not to compare against anybody's like trajectory because that would be really mean, and I wouldn't admit it on camera.
But I know, and they know.
But having said that, I think I've done pretty okay, and I've done it my way in the sense because I thought for me, the way I was raised at least, it was important to be unique and to be you as opposed to be cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So when I came into the
And,
business,
sorry to interrupt you, but those values came from where?
my family, 100%. It has to come from your family because they make you feel like, whatever you're doing, you're good enough and you can figure this out. But I think when you come into the business and you suddenly are the whole barrage of people's opinions and it's very complicated, right? Sudden fame.
Yeah.
Suddenly you go, people recognize you. You don't know how to deal with it. And coming from outside, no one teaches you. Like my father will walk down the road, nobody will still recognize him today.
Yeah.
So he can't even like give me that. But suddenly I have to deal with it and what comes along with it.
Yeah.
And then in the beginning, you'd see a dirty picture of yourself on some pap page. It would really mess with my head, saying, oh my God, like she was not wearing the right shoe, and they would circle it, and I would like, and for days I would be like my head would be in a soup saying, "Arey yaar, अच्छे जूते पहनने चाहिए थे." Why didn't I wear the right shoe? So and then I
the
realized
scrutiny.
and perhaps then I realized maybe it's not good for mental health to be just seeing myself every day, in like
So then you
maybe
unfollowed those paps.
no.
How do
I
you
started wearing
protect
better
yourself?
shoes.
Because I say, how do you... Because also it's not about the picture, it may be about your mental space right then. On a particular day, it won't affect you. On a particular day, I'll just be like, why did this reel not do so well? And now I'm feeling blue about it.
Yeah.
But another day, it would not impact me.
Yeah.
So to be able to compartmentalize a little bit, there are lots of questions that I want to come to you in terms about rejection also, whether you're able to distinguish between personal and professional. How you manage your mental well-being. But I wanted to just finish that conversation about looks and body type and height and skin tone and how much they still influence casting today. Because like you said, and you look at matrimonials today still, because society imitates art, imitates society. Then you look at casting calls that come on messages, and they're still looking for upmarket, particular like skin. That language is still
Gori
I
ladki.
know, I hate
Gori
it.
ladki,
I hate it so much. Yeah, I hate that. Like the fact that have we moved a little bit, but not nearly as fast as we should be doing it. It's crazy because we are eventually a country that is so crazily obsessed with like fairer skin. We love the gori chitti ladki. We love the tall, patli, dubli. We are so obsessed with like things like that. And I think that it's fair to say that all of us grew up with those stereotypes, right? Even I did, and you must have, and you must have. And it's wild that we still live in a world that is sometimes we're like, till today I have like friends visiting from the States or wherever, and random people in like in town will wanna like Dhobi Ghat or whatever will wanna just take a picture with, and we're like, they have no idea, head no tail, like why are you taking a photo with just like,
Because they look Caucasian.
because they're white.
Yeah.
It's true. It happens all the time.
That's crazy.
So, which is crazy. So yes, it is wild that we still are so obsessed with. It is true and really disappointing that we can be people that are so obsessed with, the conditioning is so
entrenched.
that we're not able to shake it off. Like till now, someone that'll meet me or anyone else will be like, Moti ho gayi.
And also, we love to comment just about people's weight.
And you're just like, bro, we are obsessed.
You grow.
That's the first thing. Oh, you lost weight. You put on weight. Why have you put on weight?
Yeah, and then touching each other, like we're also a very tactile
Who's
country.
touching you?
Or someone saying like,
The aunties are touching me. The aunties are touching you also.
Beta.
or being like, she has a boyfriend. Like, I'm like, "Arey, yaar, chhod do."
I love it.
Just
I
like
love
leave
it.
people alone. I think that, that for sure. Are we a space that tries to move away from...
Yeah, how do you push back?
You just don't
you.
take on that kind of work. You just say no.
You've said no?
Yeah, 100%.
That's lovely.
Yeah, to ads that are...
And because it's really tough to be in that
of course,
position
of
and to
course,
say
of
no
course.
because you don't believe in something.
Yeah,
Like,
but the thing is that that's how we... That's my voice, right? I maybe perhaps I'm privileged to be able to say no to a certain kind of work because I feel like I'm building a larger voice here. I'm okay with letting some work go to be a part of the larger narrative. And I'm okay with that. To say no to these fairness, brands or like someone that, is like, let's have a bunch of friends. One girl should be little plus size. One girl should be... I'm like...
The token fat friend. Yeah.
Like, listen.
Have you ever been told to lose weight or to look more
My whole life, lose weight. Somebody told me about a nose job. Someone told me about changing my name. Yeah, people will always
Changing your name.
Yeah,
Change your name.
when I first walked in, someone was like, "Oh, there used to be like this one Pakistani actress called Huma Khan. You shouldn't have that association, so change your name to like, I don't know, Aisha or something." And I said, "Listen, मैं दिल्ली की लड़की हूँ. मेरे बचपन से नाम Huma Qureshi. I'm not going to change my name. This is what you get now. We'll see." Like, and I don't think. But the thing is, I don't think people think like that.
Yeah.
But you're made to
The
feel
facade.
like that. It's a facade of
Yeah,
that, and
it's
I
a
think there's a
facade.
certain amount of I keep saying this gatekeeping. Where if you go as a young actor to people with wide eyes and looking for an opportunity, I know somehow people feel that they have to give you gyan.
Yeah.
And they have to tell you one thing that is not natural to you, so that you go into a tizzy.
Yeah.
It's almost like a game. I'm just like, but I was not even thinking about any of this. Why have you put this rubbish into my
that's why.
head?
At what
right?
point-
That's
right?
why.
Don't you know what I mean?
Yes.
But at what point have you
Madam.
become aware of that? At what point have you managed to get ahead of that? Like,
See,
has that come
this
with
is why-
wisdom? Has
this
that come
is-
with
I think this is-
experience? Has that come with financial success? Age?
Actually, in my case, a couple of things. I think the family, definitely. Like, I knew always, and I know a lot of people don't have that privilege, right? I knew if this is not going to work out, I can just say, okay, bye, guys, peace out. I'm going back to Delhi.
There was no distinction between you and your brothers in terms of being brought up.
Of course there was. They were boys, so it was far easier for Saqib, say for example, to sort of enter the movie business. Also, I came a few months before him. So he came here on the pretext of taking care of me, which he never did, by the way.
That conversation when you had with your parents, they said, "Are you sure about it? But go, like how much?"
They always thought I was more academically inclined. So they thought I'll do something more like
me.
Yeah, something worthwhile, because I was always into big books and all of that. I think
You are doing something.
Like, what's up,
now finally I have to tell them, see, if I become a doctor, I wouldn't be making this much money. So it eventually imagine.
Yeah.
But no, my father was extremely disappointed कि तुम कुछ अच्छा कर लेते अपने life के साथ, because you're going to run around trees and what is that? And I was like, yeah, but I'm an artist and I'd like to build it up.
Such a tough conversation.
It's a very tough, because how do you tell like regular middle class parents from Delhi that you want to be a Hindi mainstream heroine?
And you actually care about the acting part.
Right? And I actually care about the acting, but I've worked for it, I've done theatre,
But also,
I've
how
done
many
all of
people
that.
make it? No, like there's.
Correct. So the odds were definitely stacked against us, but you got to try once. And I had this very emotional conversation with my father saying, if you don't want me to go, I won't go. I'll do an MBA, I'll get married. But if I don't do this, maybe when I'm older, I'll do like grandmother paths, or because I really want to act. But I always regret. I full drama. And I was like, but I always regret you never supported me when you had the chance.
Oh, wow.
And as a parent, imagine like if you're
No, Kunal, that's fine. I'll be okay with it. Just go read your law degree. It's fine.
So I had to finish my graduation. But I think education helps, family helps, coming back to your question. And I think just knowing that, I think enough people in your families or around you in our business should tell people it's okay to hold your ground. You're not being difficult.
Yeah.
I think there's this whole fear that if you don't sort of succumb to some bad advice coming your way, whatever it could be, and it's different for different people, you're going to lose out that magical opportunity.
What bad advice have you succumbed to and then regret
I'm
it?
just saying, like, do surgery, lipo kara lo, nose job kara lo, now, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, no, I don't have to look like a cookie cutter to have longevity in my career.
Yeah.
I can still look like me and have the same name and do all of those things, and I can have a lovely career.
I think you're right. It's those voices, because there will be lots of noise. And now, like you were saying, growing up, we had these stereotypes, but they were not in our faces because there was no social media, certainly for me. There was just the Odd Film Fair magazine. But now it's in your face. And now young girls who don't even want to be actors are still having nose jobs and changing their faces and lips and all of that to conform. Which can be worrying also because they don't really know where to go and how to do it. Just to talk to you a little bit about the misconceptions that people have about becoming an actor. I think a lot of people come, especially from far away, they come to a city like Mumbai. What do some of them get wrong in their thinking?
Firstly, let's touch upon the fact that getting into the movie industry is something that in India, which needs a massive change, it's looked down upon. So let's first touch upon that. There have been like times that I've done like workshops and stuff, not something that I got into deeply, again, like I said, because teaching is something else. But I realized that a lot of people are like lying at home. They've come from Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, but they don't have the guts to tell their parents that this is what they want to do. So firstly, I think it's like, oh, if you don't make anything of your life, you become an actor. And I feel so deeply like sensitive towards that. The fact that we are like dumbifying such a tough job. It is not easy in any measure, but we're making it seem like, oh, agar kuch nahi hoga, to ye ban jao.
Really?
Yeah, it is true. It's absolutely the truth in India. I feel like many families, especially like doctor, engineer, wo wale, jo full generation hai, they feel like, oh, acting is something that's like for the ones that they couldn't get the marks. That's what modeling acting is for that.
Right.
And I feel like it is so sad because there is actually a voice of people that want to do it, but they don't have the support from their family or just the support to be able to live that dream. So they are then saying that they're going for an off-site or something, and they're coming for an acting workshop for 2 days, lying at home, because this is actually something they want to do. So first and foremost, just to normalize that this is like an actual job. People have no idea. They only see the glamour aspect of it. They don't see the amount of hard work that it takes. Actually, to be honest, I'm someone that works behind the camera, and I think it's incredibly hard to be on a set.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would be able to.
Be an actor.
Yeah, no chance.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Tell us some of the things that you would not be able to
Like
do.
the waiting around. Let's start with that.
I mean, yeah, that
Let's
is
start
true.
with
That
that.
is tough.
Let's start with that. And they have no idea. People
Like who
that
said
see-
I'm getting paid to wait, not to act?
Yeah.
People that see you guys on camera have no idea how much you waited to do that shot.
Yes.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
And I think just the fact that it's not always the camera on you. There's like many times that the camera is not on you and you're just standing there to give cues to another actor, and it's hot and it takes time, and the shot you could have given something amazing, but some mic came in the
Technical
Yeah.
issue.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
yeah.
people don't know that. They don't see it. They only see the perfect picture, right?
Yeah.
The
final product.
Yeah, the final product. And I think that people have no idea what it takes to be behind the scene, and it is incredibly hard to be able to do the same thing, say the same dialogue time and again, and also be in sync with your co-actor where they can give their best shot and you can give.
And that
it's like the perfect timing.
Yeah.
And that's very well put actually, because that is true. Like sometimes you'll give like an amazing shot, but you have to do it all over again, and maybe you don't feel it. So it's also about just. That's why I always say. I think mostly people think actors get all these perks because they're famous or whatever. Actually, why we get the perks we get is because you're supposed to, or between action and cut, just be able to emotionally regulate yourself on demand.
Oh
you
my
could have
God,
had
but
that's actually, I was thinking about it. That's what the perks are for the hotel rooms and the cars and the pickups and the drops, and maybe throw in a free massage because he's had a rough action week or whatever. It's because on action, no matter what's happened in your life, you're supposed to perform the scene.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to make me feel like it's it's wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Again and again.
again, in multiple times, from multiple angles and all of that. Depending, it could be hot, it could be cold,
Yeah.
it could be dying, it could be unwell. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter. The audience doesn't know. The audience doesn't care.
That's why you get those perks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that, because in spite of those perks, you might still find it very hard to deliver between action and cut.
Yeah.
So
Of
what do you
course.
find most challenging? Like, there'll be lots of things. I know you're very passionate about your job. I know you love your job. So it'll be very hard for you to say, you'll be like, I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. But like something about it that is
It's incredibly hard.
incredibly hard.
Sometimes being able to disconnect. Like, I don't like filming in Mumbai because I feel it's
Yeah.
too distracting. There are too many
So
people.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't like, because I feel like I have to run a regular house because I do everything on my own, right? Run a household, do my taxes. Then there are all these social engagements, and then
Yeah.
people, and when you're in Mumbai, somehow people just feel like you're more accessible.
Yes.
To meetings, even your team. And I'm like, no, guys, I'm in the middle of a film. But I feel when I'm on an outdoor, I'm just able to switch off that noise completely.
Yeah. And you're just doing one thing.
I'm just doing one thing. So I love being like out on location in another place where there's like really super low connectivity, because I'm like, guys, I'm shooting right now.
Yeah.
I'm away. But Mumbai, I find incredibly hard because the noise is just too much. So I feel like, for just not myself, for other actors also, it's so important to be able to turn that noise off.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. Now suddenly, oh, you're getting an award tonight, but I'm shooting a really important scene today, but I still have to wrap it up and then go get ready and do my red carpet outfit and make sure nobody
hard.
trolls me, and then do a good speech so I've not
Make
forgotten
sure nobody
someone.
trolls me.
You know what I mean?
Make sure my shoes are right.
My shoes are right, and then I have to remember to thank every single person on that film, otherwise they'll get really upset. So it's a lot of like, I find that like people are pulling your attention in multiple ways, and because I'm a purist, I feel like as an artist sometimes you have to like really just try and be that one human at a time.
But people make these assumptions about women, that women are good multitaskers and that women wear many hats. And then, so you, for example, I would infer from this that a man would not find it difficult to shoot in Mumbai or anywhere else because he's very busy and he's just, I'm working right now.
Yeah.
So even at home, like if Kunal is on the phone, even if he's just talking to Vivek,
right, of
our
course,
friend,
after our common
but
friend,
like, the person who cooks at home will be like, nahi, bhaiya phone pe, I cannot disturb him.
But you are
But I'm doing something, writing in script. Didi, aaj khane pe kya banana? I'm like,
And I'm like,
"Ask him,
banana.
no,
I hate
mujhe fark nahi
that.
padta hai." I just want to ask you a little bit about like when Gangs came out. Again, just for some people watching, what shocked you most in terms of like, was there an expectation of overnight success? And you were successful. So that's not my question. It's just, did you feel like now everything's going to fall into place? Like I'm the next Bachchan, but like other things that might be required, like having to have like a stylist, having to have a PR game. Talent is not everything. So at what point did you become aware that there's going to be more things?
एक तो इतने पैसे नहीं होते थे.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I didn't have that kind of money.
Of
And
course.
even sometimes I felt like in my experience, even if I had the money, I could afford a particular kind of stylist, sometimes they didn't want to work with me. Because they only wanted to work with some people who were like, the
Kids
buzzy,
or
the buzzy kids. So I faced a bit of that as well.
Like a stylist will turn you down?
No, yeah, when I started out 100%, like a lot of people I couldn't afford, and if I could also, they were like, oh, we're too busy or whatever, or I would get like a invoice which was far higher than I knew that they were charging, because they just wanted to like, didn't have the bandwidth for me, because they were like, "Ye kaun hai? This is some indie film that she's doing," kind of. So I faced a little bit of that, but I was like, it's okay. I mean, maybe I'm not a cool kid for them yet. Yeah, so that happened. But no, I think just to navigate the whole space, like I didn't know like what am I supposed to wear for a screening, say for example. I didn't know like what am I supposed to say in an interview. I didn't know if I could really be myself. And I was told like, women behave a certain, I think we all in society are told women need to behave a certain way. So I did find myself like trying to shrink myself and because I didn't know like what is the correct thing to say. Can I crack this joke or not in an interview, or is it like too out there or inappropriate or whatever? How will people perceive me? And also because I didn't grow up over here. I remember one of my first interviews I did just after Gangs. This person from this very popular publication goes like, "Arey, aap to badi अच्छी अंग्रेजी में बात करती हैं." So I'm like, हाँ मतलब मैं दिल्ली से हूँ. I went to a college. I'm a history honors student. हमको लगा आप गाँव से हैं कहीं से, because
Because you're playing a
because I'm
character.
playing a
What's in
character, and I'm like, and in my head I'm thinking, buddy, I'm probably more educated than you are, but that's besides the point. But that kind of stereotype does come with you, because people don't have access to you apart from your movies or what you choose to put out there in the early days. Now I think, what I enjoy about it also is like, you know, when I play characters like a Tarla, or I do like just something that is, or a Maharani, which is not me in terms of background or looks or age even, I enjoy it because then I keep telling people, you know, today we have to use social media differently. The fact that you know what I look like.
You see what I've achieved.
And what I've achieved. You see the gap. Earlier, actors or even actresses were scared to play older characters because you were like, oh, they'll think I've probably become older because your access is only that much.
And you're only seeing them on screen.
Can we just have fun with this a little bit? I can wear like a really sexy dress and go out partying with my friends, but I can also play this like
you're right.
middle-aged person, you know, with like 3 children and like doing like a really dramatic part. And I think that's what I'm trying to lean into.
Yeah, nice.
Then let's surprise people because they know what I look like. They will see me tomorrow. Somewhere. You know, it's social media.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your journey because you know, you said that you tried workshops. Did you want at some point to attempt to teach people how to act?
I think that definitely I would love to impart my side of my experiences, but I think there was a moment where I thought that could go into teaching, but very quickly when I did like a few workshops only, I realized that this is another beast. It is not the same as being a casting director. So sure, I can impart whatever my casting journey has been, but can I teach acting? No, I can't.
But why? How did you get into casting?
So I started my career very, very early, and I think that was a huge advantage. I started as an assistant on Wake Up Sid, and as life may have it, I was put on to casting. So it's just like something that I stumbled into. I had no idea what I wanted to do at the movies, but I knew I wanted to work at the movies. But I had no idea what I wanted to do at the movies. I was like 18 years old, and I was put on to Nandini, who is my mentor, and you know, I'm her protege of sorts. And she taught me everything that I know about casting, and that was my first job. And I did that for 1 year. I think most people don't realize. I don't think casting is something that most people pick. It just happens to you.
It's an unusual career.
It is. Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, maybe today people are picking that as an occupation, but I think back in the day when we were doing it, you just stumbled into it. Nobody really picked that as something that you do. But one thing that you have to have an advantage with is like if you're a people's person, because that's really what it takes. What you're doing is, or what I am doing even today, is I am dealing day in and day out with people's emotions and how they're feeling, their panic. Like, let's say the last year and a half, you'll know, the industry has actually not been in an amazing space, right? We all know that. And when do I know that as a casting director is when I start to get like a lot of panic calls from
That's because Huma's doing all the work.
I start to get like a lot of panic calls from actors because they're starting to like feel like कुछ कोई तो मीटिंग कर लेते हैं कुछ तो कर लेते हैं क्या हो नहीं रहा कुछ
is a bit slow down. Do you feel like you have to be like a therapist and a counselor?
Yes, of course. I'm first a therapist and then a counselor.
Yes, yeah.
Love that.
But I think that so I just got into it because it's something that I feel like just happened to me. I started to work with Nando. I assisted her for a year and a half. I then went to New York. I studied only for 3 months because that's what my parents could afford at the time. Came back to India and felt like I think I may be able to do this on my own. It was gutsy AF.
Yeah.
But I went like to production houses to be like, give me an ad. I'll do it for like less money. I'll do it. That's how you start your career, right? You're like, I have talent. I can do this and I'll do it for cheaper. That's the way it works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And then I sort of seeped into that. But I think in India, at the time where OTT was not there, the real switch was making it from advertising to film. Film was like a clique.
Yes.
It was like
Very hard to break into.
You do not, like, they are gatekeeping this. You do not break into the movies.
And this is back in when you were
talking like 2011.
Yeah.
And it was hella hard. It was hard to break into this like world with no, like, sure, I have family that's been or is in film, but I don't think that me and Tan were raised in a way which was like somebody is going to make a call. It was not like that. It was like you make your life on your own. And then I found a way to break into that movie scene, which was a really big deal. I never forget Karan Malhotra, my first film, Brothers, which was like an insanely big opportunity. It was like 100 people were to be casted in the film. It was like MMA. I didn't have an office. I didn't have a team. I was like a solo rider. And the first AD, Santosh, who is still a very, very dear friend, called me to be like, why don't you come and meet Karan? I was like, are you mad? I was like, this is a really big film. It has like Akshay Kumar. It has like Jackie Shroff. It's like really big people. And Dharma, I'm like really just starting out. I'm doing advertising. He was like, come and meet him. So I was like, okay. I had like a Europe, some Rome trip booked to go like travel. So I was like, okay, chalo, I will come and meet him. So I came and I watched Warrior the day before I met him because I had not watched the film. It was an adaptation of the film. And I came and met him and really felt like a small fish, you know. He was like this big director. You walk into Dharma Productions, you're like,
Suddenly spine is
sorry,
erect.
you're like, oh shit, this is like a moment. But I was like, you know what? Let's just go and meet. This is like like the fact that I have a seat here is important. So whether I get the job or no, it doesn't matter. But I think it's so interesting that the conviction that I had that I won't get the job, I was so confident.
Mujhe
feel like you have nothing to lose.
I had nothing to lose.
Right,
so I was like, I don't have a team, but I watched the film and it's amazing, and I'll figure it out. Like I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because he totally took a gamble on me because he'd met like 2-3 other casting directors, but he was like, this chick has something to prove.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what?
I think that people like that.
She might
like
work,
that. Everyone
she
likes
might
that.
work harder than anyone else.
Yes.
So I was like, anyway, so Santosh called me. He was like, I picked up the phone and I was like, what's up? He was like, I was like, anyway, so 17th I'm leaving of June on...
For my Rome trip.
My
which is
Rome
very
trip.
important.
My Rome trip is the...
Did you go eventually?
Obviously not.
Obviously not.
Obviously not. I got the film. I did the film. I casted the film. And that I think was like a really big one for
of
me.
course,
Because
yeah.
after that, Karan recommended me to Shakun and that's how I got Kapoor and Sons.
What a
So
beautiful
it's
film.
like, it's like one after the other.
Yes.
And
For some people,
that's
it's
how
that
it
great.
happened.
And then, of
you
course,
need
word of
that.
mouth, and
You
if you're
need
good
that.
at it, then you will. Have you ever cast someone in the first 30 seconds of meeting them and someone made like an amazing impression
She's like,
on
no, I'm not that easy.
you? First impressions count, no?
Of course they do, but I think the audition counts more.
So can I ask a question?
No. Unless you come this side. You have to swap and then...
No, but I
Yes,
don't
of course you can ask a question.
So neat is being.
No.
How do you turn someone down? Like I find that like
It's the toughest part of my job.
right.
Yeah.
Like how do you tell someone okay, and you see that person is. I've seen some people like really think that they've killed it or whatever, but then how do you tell break it to them gently, or how do you do it, or just tell them
Gently being the right word. I think you just tell them that this particular one is not something that I see you in. But you never say that I never see you in something.
Even if you
Because you-
never see them in something, you don't tell them that?
No, I don't tell them that.
Like there will be people that you feel may not have potential to
Yeah,
be
but Soha,
actors,
the thing is that
but who've left cities
the
and
thing is
come
that
here.
you can never say that to someone because the wave can change.
So you feel
So
like,
you
okay,
can't
right
have-
now I don't see it, but that's
Yeah,
not to say that tomorrow you won't have what it takes.
Of course, because
So
how can
stick
you
at
say
it,
that?
keep sticking at it.
Of course, that is the game.
anyone can act, right? And anyone can do at least one character. I feel that everyone has experiences,
Yeah.
right? So there's
No,
something
but
you can express
I don't
that will
think
be
you
unique
can,
to you.
I don't think you can tell someone that this career is not for you. I don't think you can do that because if you work hard enough, it can be for you. It's just that the amount of hard work that you will put as less talented compared to someone else, your journey may be longer, but one can't say that you won't get there.
I think that's fair to say, and that's also nice not to crush someone's dreams if that's something that they really want. But would you say if somebody's been trying for 5 years?
I mean, I would tell them that in my life, I put a deadline to my when I was trying something, I put a deadline to it. And today's time again, while we're talking about being in an industry which has been like kind of like wobbly, would I tell actors today that diversify? Yes.
Yeah.
Should you have something? Should you have apples, pears, and bananas in your basket? Yes.
Interesting.
Because at some point, I mean, I've been told also that if you have a plan B, then, I don't want to work with you because I want someone who has everything to lose. And I've always been a sort of plan B person just because that's my personality. But actors need to have that hunger and that fire, no plan B.
And also life experience. You know, I don't know, like I feel like sometimes people like, to be a good actor, I always feel like you need to have some amount of life experience.
Yeah.
Seen something.
Seeing
Like
the world.
life should have happened.
Yeah,
to you.
life should have happened to you. And sometimes I feel like
Good acting
because,
comes out of that.
Yeah,
because
for
some actors,
sure.
when they go through like a certain journey, then they come out and do something you're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like
Yeah.
because life has happened to you.
Yeah.
And you draw from that.
Yeah.
Like again, because I think,
Yeah.
because
Agreed.
when we talk about popular films, we only talk about like, oh, the cute love stories and but I feel like there's so many people who have amazing, incredible success stories at whatever like time period, because they've seen something about life and they're able to express that authentically.
Yeah.
But haven't we seen that even in screenplays, like writing?
Oh,
in
yes.
general?
Yeah, of course.
Like
Writing.
the
You're gonna cook it a
beautiful
bit.
writing
Yeah.
comes from people that
Of
have
course.
lived.
Of course, because ultimately as an actor, you're an instrument.
Yeah.
You're only bringing to life what is
Yeah.
ideally what is
What
on
is already
paper
written.
and what is already written and being directed. When your experiences working with casting directors, have you been ever rejected gracefully, gently? Somebody's
Yeah, many
broken
times.
your heart?
Many times. But I think mostly people have been extremely nice. The nice ones, of course, you remember. The not so nice
I thought
ones.
the not nice ones you
remember even more.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Even more, I'm like, isko bataungi. No, but I think I choose to live my life in grace. So I remember the nicer ones more because I feel like they tell me that there's a nice way to handle things.
Yeah.
There's been an incident where actually Manish Sharma, the director, he was considering me for a certain part, and he called me and he very nicely told me that I don't think we're going to go going in a different direction, which I thought was very sweet. Like he didn't need to do that. I had done nothing.
Yeah.
But to literally call a
Yeah.
kid, give them coffee and be like, hey, you're great, but
it's
we're going in a
not
different
working out.
direction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. Like
Yes.
sometimes you just need that closure
Yeah,
or even.
yeah, of course.
Otherwise you're going to keep thinking, kab bajega phone, kab
Yeah.
aayega
Has
phone.
that happened that people just say we'll get back to you and then nobody ever
A
gets
lot
back
of time
to
you get
Yeah,
ghosted
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. As an actor,
And then
I
you're
think,
like-
Yeah. I mean, I would be lying if I said that.
have you ghosted somebody?
No, not somebody, but we don't always get the opportunity to tell every single actor
Yeah.
that tested
Yeah.
that it didn't work out. I would love to do it, but the
Yeah.
truth is that when you are actually doing the work, would I say that it is or can be difficult to get back to every single person that
possibly
tested?
not.
Yes, it is tough to do that. I would. That's something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
But we don't always get around.
No, but there are some people who could do it but don't do it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just better to give people closure.
Yeah.
Like it's just let them know, okay, this is not
There was one
happening.
film that I found out I was not doing because I was sitting next to you on a flight. And I said, so what are you doing next? And you said this. And I was like, oh, so I guess that means
I don't
I'm
even
not
remember
doing
that story.
Yeah.
You never told me this.
No, I've never told you this.
Which
That's
film?
I'll tell you at
hilarious.
dinner.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess
Because
I'm
I'm
not
not
doing
doing
this. But nobody's told me I'm not doing it. But
that's happened to me. That's happened to me.
So
That's happened to me.
this is how you find out.
Yeah, I think people just avoid difficult conversations.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
feel people
Let's be kind
feel
to them.
let's be kind to them. So just let's not. And
Yeah.
I think that's meaner.
Yeah.
Because if I would find out, it would be really. It's happened to me that I found out suddenly one day paper missing, huh?
Yeah.
But they came to me and they've not even had the
And,
courtesy
yeah.
of saying like, listen,
Close
it's not
that
happening.
conversation.
Whatever. And I think we are going in a different direction is the safest thing. You don't need
Yeah,
to explain.
Do you say that when you break up with someone? I'm going in a different direction to you.
I've had a
It's not you,
filmmaker.
it's me.
Yeah.
The worst thing has happened. I've had a filmmaker who first offered me a film. Okay. Then he was not able to raise money for it.
Okay.
Okay. Then he has called me and instead of saying, hey, you know what, we can't go ahead with you because I've not managed to find a producer, found money. He tried to tell me how my market was bad and
put it on you.
Put it on me
Wow,
and trying to make me feel insecure about myself. So first I've heard him because obviously as an actor, you're just like, acha, okay, I'll put the phone down.
Processing.
And then you're like, what?
I'm like, what
just
the heck?
happened?
What just happened? And I was so proud of myself, Panchami. I actually called him and said, listen, I just want to say something to you, sir. I didn't appreciate this phone call.
You did that?
I did
Love
that.
it.
This happened recently, so I did that. I
I'm here for
said,
it.
This happened recently.
yeah, so it's
I'm here
fresh in
for
my
it.
memory.
I'm here.
I'm like, I didn't appreciate that. All you had to say
Is it's
was
not
this,
working out?
And I
Yeah.
think I deserve a meeting because we've been discussing this for a while. I completely understand these things happen, but you have no business putting me down. Because I'm not putting you down for not being able to done this.
Yeah.
So how dare you?
But firstly, amazing that you
Amazing.
can have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because one of my questions is also going to be that do you find that on set or in negotiations, men are applauded for taking a certain tone, for asking for certain things, and women are told to shrink or like tone it down a little bit? So have you experienced that?
I felt that. I don't know if I've experienced that, because I felt every single time I've stood up for myself or I've seen other women stand up for themselves has actually worked out better.
Right.
But we are made to believe if you do that, you will be the difficult
And
one.
you'll be replaced.
You know,
for sure.
but every single time you've actually stood up for yourself, it's actually been
feels
better.
great.
It feels great.
It feels
I
great.
walked away saying, I'm so glad I'm not doing that film. Screw you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a great feeling, and I'd rather feel good about myself than to actually, you know, keep thinking what else I could have done.
Yeah.
So I am fully, like, I endorse like people standing up for themselves completely.
And do you find it easy to negotiate money? I know, I mean, we have people now in the middle doing that, but I mean, to say no to something, I think it would be safe to say if you really wanted to do something, then money would not be the prime consideration. But you understand that certain people have budgets that they're happy to spend on X, but when it comes to you, they're like, suddenly then they're asking for another amount and you feel like you deserve more. So
the way I define it for myself, I'm like, ya to role kamal ka hai. Ya to it's a part I'm dying to do. Otherwise, just give me so much money that I'm not questioning you. I'm going to turn up for these 30 days, do my job, take my check, and I'm going to get lost. One thing has to land.
One thing has to land.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. But
and I'm very honest about it. Like, probably I'll do a film, you'll be like, why did Huma do something? Because I got
a lot of money. Yeah. But I'm saying that to be able to stick that ground, did that come to you easily? Do people help you do that?
It's a process. It doesn't, like, one day you don't wake up and you be like, okay, I can do this. And I also feel like you have to earn your way to demand that. I see that. But I think that Keeda was always there. Like, I knew one day when I would reach here, I would want to do that. I've done things for free. I've done things for friends. I would still do it again in a heartbeat. So money is not a driving force. But if I feel somebody's coming to me with something that is not something I want to do, then at least I want to get paid for it. And that I'm not ashamed to ask.
But I want to say something. So as a casting director, since I become that like mediator, with most times with actors, if they really like a part and I'm like then between, they'll be honest and be like, look, Panch, I want to do this. So it's not about the money. But you get me whatever you can.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, which is cool, right? Like I would, and I am, I'm two things. I definitely am someone that, like, the director is the captain of the ship. So even with like OTT platforms or whatever a platform may have to say, I'm leading by what my director wants, and not by what the producer wants or what the OTT platform wants or the followers or any of that. And the second thing is that if I can get an actor a little bit more money, I'll definitely do it.
Right.
Because I feel like I just feel sensitive towards actors, and I that's why I'm in the job.
It's the right
that
thing
I
to do, yeah.
And I'm like, ठीक है ना? I mean, मुझे पता है ये platform को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Yeah, exactly.
If I give a little bit more to an actor, if I can get them that. But what's amazing is that an actor will confide in a casting director to be like, look, I want to do the part. Now you try, but I want to tell you that I'm not going to lose this.
Right. Like, I don't want to lose it over.
And I think it's very different when an actor is speaking to a production house versus they are speaking to a casting director. The casting director should be that mediator that will kind of make it happen between the two, because a production house and an actor talking to each other is a very different conversation. Because the production house is like cinching, they're like,
they never have the money.
They'll be like 10 days, they'll wait.
Your production house
they'll
now,
be like,
so
let's
we
ghost
never
them.
have money.
They'll be like, let's ghost them for 10 days, वापस आ जाएंगे.
Yeah, then they'll get insecure, then they'll call back.
But with a mediator, you'll be like, look, I'm happy to let them wait, but this is what I'm happy to do it in. And that conversation is much more seamless to be like, creatively I'm into it, or an actor even telling me that I'm not into it creatively, I'm doing it for the money.
Yeah.
So get me this money,
Right.
you know. So I think that is like a interesting, like, in between, and it's not the same when an actor and production house is talking to each other. Of course, actor and director never speaks about that ever.
No.
But an actor and casting director, or casting director and production house, that's a different dynamic, and you can be that mediator to make it happen.
And the director is the one who should have the final say when it comes to casting, but that's not always the case.
With OTT, no, it's not always.
It's the platform? It's the production house?
I think it's the
hero?
Yeah, no,
It's
it
the
is true. It is a
platform.
new reality, right?
It's the
Yeah,
platform.
it is a new reality of it.
I mean,
I'm just thinking
wow, I'm like being extremely like This
And,
is a
and
bit
sometimes,
like
and I'm going to say
flippant.
this, and I'm going to say this at the
Yeah.
cost of, because I do so much OTT
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
but I'm going to say this at the cost of that, and sometimes they don't necessarily make the right choices.
Yeah.
Of course not.
They don't make the right choices. They don't make the right creative choices.
But aren't they making the choices on the basis of Instagram followers?
But that's what I'm saying, na? Like,
I think marketability, their algorithm,
which is again a
there's
perceived
it's
idea of it.
random.
The way I think, and maybe
It's
I'm being a
random.
purist, I'm like, if you're hiring creative people to do something, which is directors, creators, then let them do their job.
Yeah.
Don't teach grandmother how to cook.
Yeah.
They know how to do this, because what happens with that, and it's happened to so many projects I've been a part of, that you have a great script, but the wrong casting
Yeah,
just
that is so true, of
completely
course.
unravels it,
Yeah,
because
of
you
course.
feel somebody is topical and hot and
Yeah.
will probably get more eyeballs. You just completely mess it up.
Yeah.
But
Or,
yeah, I do think that it's different with like if the director is, this is a very much a reality. If the director is established, then the platform will be less involved.
Yeah.
If the director is new, then the platform
They
is
could do
the
some arm
alpha.
twisting.
Yeah.
I can't ask, what you think was terribly miscast.
no,
Can't
that's later, off the record. Then I'll also tell you.
I can ask you. They're like, I'll tell you, but
I'll tell
I'll
you.
regret later.
Fully.
What should you have been in?
Oh, many.
What were you miscast in? You're like, why am I in this?
Many.
But Maharani was a turning point, you feel, for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think Maharani was definitely a turning point. But I think the seeds were born by, say, a Leela, because the first time I believed I could lead a show or a film. It didn't do as well. But I think somehow that's what life is. And when you start believing it, somehow you find then that project. And I think Maharani really found me. Again, the platform didn't want me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, because and I've said this before, and I mean it's public knowledge. So Sony Live as a platform, they don't really go with like known faces. They always go with storytellers, and they want to go real casting. That's been the trajectory. So they were like, "Arey, why do you want to get Huma? And like, we can get someone new, because it's this housewife and de-glam and all of those things." And they never thought I would commit to the part as much. And I think Mr. Subhash Kapoor, the show creator, he put his foot down, saying, let me do this.
Yeah.
Trust me on this one. And I'm so glad they did, because it really has changed my entire life trajectory.
Yeah.
In that sense, yeah. So
And do you feel a little bit like the OTT and film space, like, do you feel like your success in the OTT, what do you attribute that to? And do you feel that there's any difference? Like now you have Toxic coming out, you have lots of theatrical things to look forward to as well.
Yes.
So do you view them differently at all, as different animals?
nahi, actor ko to we have to be, the job is the same.
The job is the same.
Sometimes perhaps working with different makers is different. Like I know, like for some makers, they like the silences and the pauses, because the way they're shooting it is very different, and some people want a different pace to things.
Yeah.
So you got to switch up your style depending on who you're working with and the genre of the film. Also, I like to do different genres.
Yeah.
So sometimes what may work in a Sriram Raghavan film will not work with a Gurinder Chadda.
Yeah.
They're just different makers, and hence their storytelling language is very different. So as a good actor, it's important for you to try and understand what your language is, and I'm going to speak to you in that. Like if I spoke to you in Bhojpuri, you'd be like, "Hey."
Yeah.
So it's about
speak to me in Bhojpuri.
I could, but this will be another. Dekhiye. So yeah, it's about just understanding that, and I know theatrical business is also going through a bit of a flux, though.
Yeah, fully.
It's crazy.
Tell me more.
Fully. So I mean, firstly, for any actor that's working and on a set, you should be like
Grateful.
Grateful.
Really?
Yes.
So for
be on a
people who
set.
are other people, not just me, who are at home, why are they waiting?
I think we are in a very, very strange time in the industry. I think it could be possibly worse than it was in COVID,
Really?
which is so interesting.
Yes.
Interesting and very much a reality. We are seeing day in and day out that people are downsizing their teams. We don't know. We don't have an understanding of what the audience wants. We can't say that just because of Dhurandhar, which was a beautiful film, did well. We actually, we are an industry that needs like mid-level films to do well for us to thrive, right? Not only the big budget films.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? Not only the O Romeos and the Dhurandhar and the Fighter and the War. Those films, we need like the Jolly LLB and the Shahid and the 12th Fail and the Lapata Ladies. We need more films like that for the industry to actually thrive. Right? In the big budgeted films doing well is the whole. So I think the last year and a half has actually been a very, I would say it's been like a really sad time for the industry, because when you speak about like HODs or people that are heading departments, it has not been an amazing time for us. It has been like we're just about doing enough projects to make our offices run. We're not doing enough projects to flourish, because everybody is scared. Everybody doesn't know what the audience wants. The audience has also gotten smarter.
Yeah.
We can tell. So I think we're definitely not in the best place. We could get better, but everyone's a bit like scared. They don't know what will work, what will not. A lot of projects are like starting and getting canned. A lot of projects are taking too much time to get commissioned. We're like, earlier we used to work like 4 months on a project. Now we're working like 8 months on a project.
This is a great time to open a production company.
No, terrible time to open a production company.
My segue to
Yes,
you.
yes. I mean, just to sort of take from what she's saying, it's a terrible time.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just giving you like, as there's some report I read that supposing there were 10,000, I'm just paraphrasing, if there were 10,000 films being made, now they're less than 5,000.
Yeah.
So, and it's not the big ones that are not getting made. It's the mid and the small
Yes,
size films that are
correct.
not getting made. And if they're getting made, they're not finding the right buyers. Like, tell me the last independent film that you saw on a streamer. The streamers are not buying them anymore because they're not seen as something that is going to give them a return on their revenue.
Yeah.
So what really happens to those films? Because here will be these filmmakers who will mortgage their house and do crowdfunding or whatever, and then they will try and make a film, but there are no buyers really. And then the theatrical business does not support these films.
And let's be honest, how many people from, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Fine.
How many of the people that we know in our world are actually going to the theaters anymore? That is an important question. Like, I asked my husband that. I was like, why aren't you going to the theaters? Who are my audience? He was like, you can't pause, you can't, take a call. Like, the audience becomes so...
But it's supply and demand, right? I also feel like whenever there's been a good film, people have gone to see it.
Yeah.
Like if there was a Sayyara, everyone went to see it.
But बहुत
If there
कम हो गया है.
But
Like,
बहुत कम हम picture because see
There's
again
so many demands in your time.
because he content भी इतना अच्छा नहीं है कि
हाँ,
drive
template
people.
picture बनाओगे तो कोई नहीं देखेगा. If you're going to make template content, whether on streaming or on theatrical, nobody's going to watch. People are just going to move on to something, because today, just to sort of finish what I was saying, see, remember when I was a kid, we used to have one theatre. And I remember I was the HBO Star movies generation. Like, we would watch all our English content on that, right? And possibly saw one or max, if there was like a great month, saw 2 films in the theatre, which was like a lot for us. But today, I'm literally on my reels and I'm watching so much content. So I'm constantly engaged. So unless really something really compelling is there for me to watch.
Or
I'm
word
not
of
gonna-
mouth, right? Like, if people say...
and the people you know and like, I wait for them to
that,
see
go
it,
watch
say it's
this
worth it,
film.
and then I'll go.
If there's an event film, if there's phenomenal word of mouth, there's so many films I have not seen in the theatre. I deeply regret that I didn't go and support those films. Like a 12th Fail.
I think Haq is...
I saw
it is that
recently.
I am so sorry that I didn't go to the theatre.
I literally apologize to Suparn saying I'm so sorry. Like, we should have supported
It's the best
this film.
performance I've seen by a lead actress in like a decade.
Phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's
And I remember having this conversation with so many people, studio heads and whatever, saying, but you guys have already decided that this film is not going to do well. You're not actually batting for the film to do well. You are just doing a token release for films with bare minimum marketing and being like, okay, we know whatever the fate of it is, and hopefully by some magic number, it's going to do well. I had a film drop in the middle of, like, say, 3 of my big releases. I had a 4th film coming out, which nobody's done anything about. They've just done the worst drop ever. And I was just like, if basic kuch kar lete, you never know. Then it drops on Netflix and then it gets so much love. But I'm like, but you're not giving it.
And I'm saying you put so much into it. This is the time
correct,
push it.
correct.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the way a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They just come to the end of it, and then there are lots of films that get shelved also.
And today, if a streamer does not greenlight a film, nobody's making it anymore. Till you don't have a table profit, this thing, nobody's saying, okay, we're going to put our hands into this, because you don't know what's going to happen.
But that's a little bit of like the chicken and egg thing, right?
Yes.
Because even when you take it to an actor, from my point of view, even the actor is like, who's the platform, right?
Who's the platform?
It's not like we're in a time where actors will pick it up without backing,
No,
right?
no.
So it's like...
But see, in the South, they do it. In the South, they make films and then they figure out later. So I feel it's also like we've been spoiled by the COVID sort of...
What's your strategy as a producer? And do you think producing will take the joy out of filmmaking?
It's tough. It's really tough. And we're now in the middle of making a 3rd film. The first was Double XL. The second was Single Salma. And it really took the mickey out of us. And there's so many things we didn't know, and we discovered and we learned. And and we'll still keep learning. For me, whether it's about the content first. I'm trying to find those stories that I feel people around us are not making, and I really do want to back them. But it's really tough trying to navigate the whole structure of how to release these films. Like I'm gonna face that journey now as we speak on Baby Dood I Do, which is a completely self-financed film. Saqib and I have made it, and we will go theatrical with it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm urging everyone to go watch it. Whoever's listening to this. Because it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that have gone into making it. But I feel like as first generation producers, because we didn't, again, this is all something that we're trying to do on our own. There are many mistakes we do, but unless you don't actually do it and get down in the trenches, you'll never learn. As an actor, my journey has been, somebody sends me a script, I read it, I sign the contract, I land up on set, I do my hair, makeup, I do my lines, and I get lost. But I don't understand the business. I don't understand how actually what it means to put a film together.
And also there's an
the nuts and bolts.
Control or ownership.
Absolutely. And as women especially, because it's a hero kaun hai, that's the other thing, right? So you just like go along for the ride and then he's supposed to worry about everything and you're just supposed to be there. And I'm saying, but like if you really want to own what you do and own this space, you have to understand it. And these are like also like little scary conversations, like speak to exhibitors, speak to distributors, like you don't even know. There's so much you don't know. So you're also a little scared, like will my lack of knowledge get exposed? But I feel like the only journey is to really deep dive and be like, okay, I really want to understand this. I really want to know how this works. And with each film, we're going to keep growing with it. And maybe I won't make really big films right now or really big budget films right now, but I'm going to do my experiments at the level that I can. And I'm going to keep learning because this is yahi aata hai bas aur to kuch aata nahi hai.
But I think that that's also perhaps part of the reason why you are constantly relevant, reinventing yourself. A lot of actors have also gone into producing now. And maybe you can educate us as to why they do that. But the question is really, what quality can one hope to have as an actor that will help them to survive long term? Have you been able to identify that?
I think definitely we, like I said earlier also, we are turning into a talent-based industry. So the talent is very important and that's non-negotiable. For being a lambi race ka ghoda, which is what everyone wants to be, I think it's definitely like, I think it's like where you are and the choices you make, which I have to say that you've done so spectacularly. Because we're not actually competing with anyone else, right? We're making our own game, which is what is so important. And we're not sure we are here to fight for the parts that we would like to do, but we're also anyway doing whatever we are doing and we're sticking around, right? We're not trying to be in any other, because we put so many things, especially as women, in baskets of like, commercial heroine, non-commercial hero, like indie. We put so many things in, like we put them in boxes, and especially women. I think that what is important is to like have a really strong footing. I think why people get into producing actors, to be honest, I have not entirely understood that. I think it definitely for someone like you or for someone like me, if I had to think about that long term, it would be to say stories that other people are not saying. To support, to support like a narrative that we are kind of shying away from, but we want to speak about. Like Double XL for you is something we want to speak
very
about.
Personal,
In India, we are a country, and especially in my career, we do, like I said, we're very like Kali hai, ye hai, like we say so many things. Even today I'll meet like some auntie from far away and she'll be like, oh, pregnancy ke baad, अरे जल्दी पतली हो गई.
We have to comment on appearance.
Appearance is easy.
Leave people alone.
And women, and obviously,
women
more. Appearance more.
And I don't even see that as like a big compliment or anything. I'm like, just stop.
No, exactly. Just don't comment on appearance. Because today you'll say this, tomorrow you'll say
ask me how I'm doing. Ask me like
like things that are like, how are you coping? Has it been rough for you? Why don't you ask me the important questions? Instead of asking or speaking about all of these appearance things. But I think that the reason why women are getting into production is because they want to now see stories that men are not seeing. That's what I think that most, like whether you see Kriti or you or if you see the work that you guys are doing, it is female led.
Yeah.
It is stories that dudes are not putting any money in, you know, and that is the point of making that. Because you have the voice and you have the opportunity and you will be able to get some money on the table to tell your story.
And also,
you
I
know?
think the more women that work behind the scenes,
Yeah.
like you do, or like all of us do also, like I feel like it's like we put out our choices out there in ways they don't even fully comprehend and understand, right? And it's not, I'm not trying to throw men under the bus, but it's like they don't understand what it really takes. They have a very specific understanding, stereotypes, conditioning, which they can't help sometimes. And they all are lovely people, but they just have a conditioning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's conditioning.
I mean, 50%.
Conditioning.
I can't complete a conversation about acting and casting without touching a little bit on MeToo and the casting couch.
Yeah.
But do you feel, Panchami, that after MeToo, there has been a change? Like now, even after COVID, for example, people understood that I don't even have to go to do an audition. I can self-tape and I can send it in.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's more accountability. I've been told now that a man cannot be alone in a room. There needs to be someone else present when you're with a person of the opposite gender, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know if that holds or not. Now, I think men don't get into a lift with a woman alone. They're like, no, you go alone.
Really?
I'm not getting into the lift. I mean, there are certain changes that we perceive.
Yeah.
Perhaps some of them are superficial. Perhaps there hasn't been enough accountability. Perhaps there haven't been enough consequences. There have been some.
Yeah.
So what have you seen?
Do I like that it all came out? Yes, because I feel like it was important for people that are in power to feel a little bit scared.
Yeah.
Is that okay that it happened? Yes, because do we have social media for someone to put out a story and it'll be picked up? And should you be scared about that? For sure. And I think that's why did the movement overall work? I don't think so, because eventually a lot of women that were especially actors felt that thing of like losing out opportunity and to be able to speak. A lot of like the cases that actually happened within the casting directors didn't come to any fruition because people didn't show up to be able to give their name to it, right? It's a scary world. But did it scare them?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
We're like, even if it's like baby steps, that's good enough. Is it true that every time, even in my office, it's not true that every time there'll be a woman when like a male assistant is testing? That's not true. But I think it starts at the time that you enter the office. The vibe has to be about the work, and it has to be like comfortable. It has to be, the minute you enter the door of my office, it should feel like you have a voice to be able to write to Panchami on her Instagram and be like, did I have this? If I had a situation, that has never happened in my office because that's how I run my team.
Right.
I'm also a woman.
Yes.
So obviously I'm going to run it
But there have
different.
been cases of
Yeah.
women also
Sure.
being complicit or having
sure.
exploited their power.
Yeah, but I mean, you do whatever you can, right? Like you try to lead your team in a way that you believe. Like for me, it's something that's so important to me that I'll lead my team like that. I'll be like, I'm not okay with even like any kind of friendly speaking more than
Banter
whatever
that
is, whatever the job is, right? And can I control what happens outside my door? Maybe not. But as far as it's within the realm of the space that we are creating, is like, it has to be about the work. We also do something so intimate, right? With casting, we are like, sometimes we're doing a scene and I do need my assistant to be in the scene. Sometimes we're like holding hands. It's all there. But I think that the intention with which it happens, the way that we make the person that's walked into the office feel, I think that's the most important thing. And I'm so proud to say that I've actually had a spectacular run with my team. If you ask anyone who's auditioned with me, I can be so confident and say that they will be like, it's a really friendly space to be in. And we don't lead with fear. That's how casting worked for years. Like you could step into an office and you should be scared. And I'm like, how will an actor perform if they're scared?
Correct.
If they come into a space and they feel like there's a hierarchy or this is like you should be tiptoeing around, how will you perform your scene?
But that
It's
has
so
been the
scary.
environment, in the past.
Yeah,
also.
it has. But we're changing that one day at a time.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's really lovely.
I feel like you've said in interviews that you've never had any experiences personally of like feeling unsafe or any kind of harassment or
No,
any kind of...
I have felt unsafe, but I feel like I've handled it my way. I choose not to speak in the press about it or on a podcast is because I feel like, again, like what Panchami was trying to say, till we don't change the mindset of people, you'll always be that girl who spoke out. It'll never be about that man who did that. And I feel that's a very deep-rooted thing. Have people who've misbehaved with me, have I not called them out in my personal capacity or shamed them amongst my peer group? I totally have done that. I mean, if you ask me off camera, I will totally tell you, ye hua. But do I necessarily want to talk about it on camera? Not really, because I don't want to be that girl.
Yeah.
But I've called out that behavior. I always encourage other women around me to call out that behavior.
Me too.
And perhaps it's not a good thing that I'm saying this. I don't know how people receive it. But I do feel that we are not there as a society yet. If I talk about an incident that happened with me, it'll just be like a ticker thing on the news channel, or it'll become the next headline. But nothing's going to come out of it.
Right.
Like she said, the whole MeToo movement happened globally.
Yeah.
What has been the repercussion? Who's really actually
Who's
paid
actually
for
had
it?
to pay for it?
Nobody. We've had a bit of a scandal. It's all been hoo-ha-ha. We've all shared gory
And actually,
details.
let's be honest, most of them that were called out still have a existing career in the industry.
And we've all moved back. Exactly.
Right?
Gory
Like,
it's almost like everyone likes the gossip and scandal, and then we want to move back and say, kaam to karte hain." So it is what it is. So it's a very fundamental shift that we have to demand from ourselves before we start asking women to speak. It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't be like pushing.
Also, the country is not really pushing us to say our truth, right? The country is actually it will be the woman that will suffer the consequences of speaking out.
When you say the country, do you mean, who do you mean?
I feel like, would it be cool if a woman, an actor showed up at the court to speak against? Like, I feel like, are we the country that will be like, oh, she went, or will we be like, oh, career's over?
Right.
Right?
And then other people like, oh, let's not work with her because she's difficult to work
I
with.
have
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
fully.
Yeah. And who wants to be the torchbearer for that, and who wants to take that?
Because we're all trying to, I mean, I think for actors, we're in that race of first making our life now. So we are like, it seems like a janjat. Why will I get into this?
Right.
You know? Unless we were a country that would really then give a voice to a woman to be like, it's cool that you stood up.
And then the infrastructure backs you.
Yeah,
Correct.
And
you
a
need
difference, and you
that,
see a difference. Are there red flags that you want to tell people who are looking to be cast that they should be wary of? For example, if there's a young girl who's being called for an audition, perhaps if somebody calls you to a hotel room, that's
I
not the
think
venue.
like somebody asking you for like bikini photos or any of that is definitely a red flag. Someone calling you to a hotel room is definitely a red flag. A casting director trying to do a scene with you is definitely a red flag. Anything like intimate, or saying that show up at this party because it'll be good for your career is definitely a red flag. So I think with the thing of like networking, and it's very much happening. So
and people also say that if you pay me a certain amount of money, I can guarantee you.
yeah, that is also a red flag because it ain't happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It ain't happening because
for money also.
yeah, they do,
I
they
love
do.
it for a
They
meeting.
do. For
Yeah, like, I mean, you
to
pay me
make
and I'll
your
get to
career,
this role. Then I think also getting things in writing might be helpful because a lot of people say,
it
I'll get
also
it to you, and
happens
then
in India. Like I've had a situation where someone will call me from a political background to be like, you know, why don't you come to Rajasthan? We'll host you.
dear.
I'm like,
La la la.
An aspiring
like, why
actor,
don't you, my nephew, my
Yes.
niece,
Yeah.
sort out your,
Yeah.
it happens all the time. And I'm like, I can give her an audition, but that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not giving her a part.
Yeah.
Because first, I cannot give her that part without her actually performing for that part.
Right.
But I feel a lot of people don't know.
They
that,
don't know.
And they get sort of sucked into
Yeah.
the promises. I know you said that somebody inspired you to write this, said you're such a good writer and you're so good with words and you should do this. And the
my
fact
friend
that,
Bilal Siddiqui, who wrote Badge of Bollywood, I
Yeah.
actually had called him to, and I said, I have an idea to likh de kuch. So I think he didn't want to write it. Or he didn't have the time. So he told me, no, I think you have it, you should do it. And then, of course, Sarita Tanwar, who's also a very dear friend, she was also like egging me forever to write. I don't know why though, but anyway, and then COVID happened, so then...
and then the whole idea of somebody whose superpower is becoming bigger, and then because we're talking about women, and you said yourself the idea of like wanting to shrink, so that's obviously intentional.
Yes. Yes.
And then which I think is an incredible thing to explore. And it's a wonderful idea, and I'm thinking this will become a film.
I want it to become a film. I don't know when, what, where, how, but I do want this to become either a series or a film or maybe an animation. I don't know. I'm still cooking it. But this has been a passion project, and I'm just happy that I actually wrote a book. Like just doing that, I was like,
that's cool.
I never thought I could write a book.
You're
like
published author now.
Yeah,
You've got like another hat. that
yeah,
you're wearing.
respect. Like so now I have this aspect of my life. I go to all these literature festivals and like suddenly. You don't have to be this author. Like it's great fun. Like it's a different kind of respect you get. It's kind of cool.
For being
No hair and makeup though.
and
Which is nice.
Not as much.
I'm used to it.
Not as much money as I thought there would be either.
No, there's no money.
There's no money.
It's just
Respect.
shining.
Yeah.
Oh, Delhi में बोलते हैं shining है बस थोड़ी सी. कुछ पैसे ऐसे कुछ नहीं. Like literally when I got my contract and they both thought they were very happy. They gave me this book contract and there was a lot of money. I was like, huh?
Yeah, what is
Because is
this?
it by the words or the alphabet? So whatever, how does it work?
No, there's no.
Okay.
I don't know
Oh,
this.
yeah,
I don't know
Like a telegram.
It's not
It's not like a telegram that you charge for
I'm
it.
sorry, I have no
It
idea.
depends on how much they like your book and
Okay.
how many copies they think you can
How
actually...
many copies you sell? Because you'll get an
Yeah.
advance based on how
Okay.
popular you are. I'm sure Chetan Bhagat then will have a now. Project
Yeah,
Takuri is
correct.
doing very well, etc.
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So, and then they'll deduct it though. Your advance is deducted from the sales.
But ऐसे ये तो मतलब appearance fees भी नहीं है.
Of
Yeah,
course, no
and it's
impact.
10% off. You know,
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
deal is 10%. And then how many copies are you selling? It
Yeah.
was 10% of that. So,
I only need like 10,000 copies to be a bestseller.
Yeah,
so
don't
that's
quit your
how
day
much.
job, which is doing very well.
No,
for
no,
you.
I think my day job is...
Yeah, I think
this
it's
is just
doing
like side business.
Shining.
Shining.
But the being ambitious, typical question. Do you feel guilty as a woman at all? Because I feel like it takes up a lot of your time. Like you said, you like to shoot outdoor. At this point in time, you're single. You're perhaps you have responsibilities running a home and things like that. But you are able to do whatever you want to do. And do you sometimes feel like, oh, this comes at a cost? Sometimes like I also, when you work, when I became a mother also, I felt like I lost all focus. I became very single-minded, lost a bunch of friends. Now I'm sort of saying, hey, I was in school, can we hang?
They're like,
Yeah, whatever. Who are you? Yeah. So, like, do you feel like your success, your ambition has come at a cost?
I don't think so. I feel like it's very easy to...
And are you the right person for me to be asking this question?
I think so, because I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong person, but I can only tell you about my own personal lived experience. I think and this is also part of this whole narrative, right? That, like extremely successful, independent single women perhaps have it so hard and they have this whole... I'm like, not at all. I have an amazing life. Are you kidding me? And perhaps I'm incredibly selfish for saying that, because I'm only responsible for myself and perhaps now my 2 dogs.
Perhaps, definitely.
Definitely my 2 dogs. Who the first people ever I've felt like maternal instincts towards.
Yeah.
No, but I think I'm pretty okay with that. And it's a great life.
Yeah.
I have no regrets. I don't feel judged. I don't feel small. I don't feel like I have to shrink myself. And I also feel like I have chosen a life in which I'm also customizing the experience that I have with people. And many people you meet who we don't align. I'm like, okay, I like you, respect you, but we don't need to be in each other's faces all the time.
Yeah.
So the people around me are also very, very in sync with this. They don't expect me to shrink.
Yeah.
They don't expect me to sort of, be a smaller person in the sense that I should dim my shine. Like, you want to go work, you do you. And it's fine if you don't, including my friends. Like, we'll meet when we have to. We don't have to meet each other every day to know that I care about you and I'm there for you. I'm literally a phone call away.
Not high maintenance friendships.
Yeah, not at all. I
God,
can't do that.
can't.
Can't do that.
Can't.
And anyway, I'm just like, my life is to the full touch wood. So I feel like there's only that much time I can actually invest.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't feel guilty about that at all. I think I have an amazing life. And I don't think any woman out there who's single or is ambitious or is running her race or whatever should be made to feel like, oh, it's an incredible, there are lots of things you have to give up. You have to give up nothing. There's only something to be gained here.
Yeah. I think we're almost towards the end of it. Financial independence, it says on the card.
Very good.
Look at you. Yeah.
Very good.
Good. I'm happy for you.
Thanks. All about is financially independent now. I just wanted to share that. I wanted to ask you, Panchami, if there's someone, hopefully, who's watching, somebody is hopefully watching this right now, and is aspiring to be an actor, then what are some practical steps that you feel she should take?
So first and foremost, learn acting. That's the first thing that you have to do.
But one thing,
I think,
Story acting thing.
I
one
feel
thing,
like-
do
I
acting
feel like
classes help? Do they prepare you? Because
100% they do. Come on.
Because some people
So
say,
I
"Hey,
think,
no,
I
you
think
can't,
in
you
the
learn on the
West,
job."
it's only in India.
And then we have to suffer.
It is only in India that people roll out of bed and say, I'm an actor.
Right.
Yeah.
It does not work like that anywhere else. If you had to be a doctor or a Spanish teacher, you couldn't just roll out of bed and be like, I'm a doctor.
Right.
Doesn't work like that.
hope
You
not.
have to learn.
You have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work. You have to learn how to speak in Spanish, then you'll know Spanish.
Okay.
So similarly, I think in India, it's a phenomena where people just like, either their auntie or uncle said, कि बहुत अच्छी लगती है, actress बन जा. But I think that is something that we have to see like a shift in. When someone walks into the office and gives an audition, I'm assuming you have already done the work.
Right.
So you have to do the work. That's the first and foremost. Do not walk into my office or try to give an audition without learning the craft.
Okay.
So that's number one and the most important thing.
And you could do like you don't have to do a degree.
No, of course
you can
not.
just do like
workshops.
Any kind.
etc.
And I think that's the thing, right? That when it comes to acting school, it doesn't have to be like, it can be in your budget. You can learn how to act in different budgets. You can do theater as an intern. You don't even have to be on stage. You can read books. You can start doing scene work with your friends. You can go to an acting workshop that can be like 20 days, 9 days, how many ever days.
Right.
But you've got to be you've got to do the work. You can't just be watching movie scenes and saying a monologue that you saw and think that you're an actor. And that whole like saying dialogues in front of the mirror is not good enough. It is not enough.
Right.
You have to learn the craft. You don't have to spend any money on portfolio photos. That's a complete,
that's
it's
good
a
advice.
sham. It is just people eating your money. You just need like mid frames of you in a white t-shirt and jeans, smiling, being yourself. Don't wear glares. That's like basic
Hiding
stuff.
your eyes.
Yeah. It's like just like you don't have to spend money on that, I think. And also, hard work though, that's like a given because the journey is really, really long.
Yeah.
And it can take you like, Atul Mungia always says that. He says it can take 2 days, 2 months, 2 years or 20 years.
You decide.
That's once you commit to it, you don't know where in that journey it'll actually pay off. But that's what you're committing to.
Wow.
Which is unnerving and of course scary. But that's the journey of an actor. When you choose that, you don't know when it's actually going to turn around.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. I
So
can't
to have
lie.
that staying power, and to have some resilience, and I think thick skin. If you don't have,
for sure.
you develop quite quickly.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, and
calluses on the hand.
And
Yeah.
some make it and some don't because
Yes.
it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's true.
And Huma, if there could be a last sort of parting word from you in terms of if
Bye. Like bye.
there's something a little more deep, maybe a little more meaningful.
Sure. Yeah. Ask again.
Yeah,
Parting.
if there's like a parting word, an aspiring actor, perhaps like a truth, like keeping your journey, some lessons, something you've learned.
Run. No, either run away from it or run towards it.
Yeah,
But run.
sure, I'm here for that.
I think
run.
knowing which direction is quite important. Though.
I think so,
To
but
run
run.
away or run
Either
towards
way,
it.
just run.
Keep
Decide-
moving.
Keep moving, do it. And I think, like, of course, I think she's put it very beautifully. I mean, all these are like amazing things that all aspiring actors should do. But I also feel like, and I can't stress upon this enough, experience life.
Yeah.
Most people watch films and they want to become actors.
Yeah.
I feel experience life.
Yeah.
Travel.
Yeah.
See different parts of the country. Travel globally.
Yeah.
Eat cuisines you've never tasted before.
Yeah.
You know, have your luggage stolen, like get locked out of a hotel room. All these are just fun
Have your
things.
heart broken, yeah.
Have your
Yeah,
heart
so
broken.
break
like
a heart.
fall in love. Yeah, also that. Like all of those amazing. Because where else would you draw
Yeah.
from? You will otherwise be looking at other actors and trying to imitate them by thinking, oh, this is going to look good on me. But no, when you really sort of tap into your own lived experience, something really magical comes out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what most people don't do. I feel like, which is why this whole, you know, whenever I see some actors, they bring something of themselves to a scene.
Yeah.
You always know, and it hits you.
Yeah.
You can never, perhaps you may never know where that source
Where it
of that,
came from.
where it
Yeah.
came from, but you feel that person has lived life and also learn how to speak in Hindi if you want to be a Hindi film actor. Like I feel like that's basic.
और
Like
गाना मत गाओ, मतलब
Dialogue bolo.
Oh,
Please
dialogue bolo. Like don't sing through your dialogues.
Yeah.
I think that's a very it's a very urban Bombay thing that I see with like younger artists, especially from Bombay. They're just speaking, I don't know, some utopian Hindi.
Yeah.
which doesn't exist. It only exists between Banda and Juhu. Like it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think just because how do you express yourself, right? Your face, your body, and your speech are the ways in which you express.
Also,
if
हम
you don't
India
have,
में हैं यार. It's never going to change wherever you come from. We are a Hindi Bollywood. We are an industry that thrives, and we will only connect with the audience with language. That is the only way. And we may have dialogues that are English. But वो English नहीं होने वाले हैं. वो हिंदी है.
But that's an easy escape because then you feel like people. Of course, you can. Everyone think. We all think in English now. We're those people in that generation. But it's always good to have command over something, so you can always tap into that. Otherwise, you're just so completely at bay, right? And you're just gonna.
Also, the parts that you'll get will be
limited.
More limited.
The pool
Then you
will
can play
be
an urban
smaller.
character, you can play like a particular kind of role,
Yeah.
but that's the idea. And these are things that you can work on.
Yes.
You know, I think that if you put in the effort, and that's why it's not just about going to the gym, it's not just about having a stylist, it's not about having a cosmetic surgeon, it's also about putting in the work and learning the craft.
And for kids who are from India, like I have more respect for so many actors who've come from outside India and they've learned the language and they speak it fluently. I mean, you know how incredibly tough it is if we had to, I don't know, go to Italy or Spain and act in that language and connect in that language, but as opposed to like a kid who's from India somewhere. Like, you know, I feel like you have to put in the work. So that's like basic.
Yeah. I think there's been some definite takeaways. I want
And
to thank you
bye.
both. And of course, the final parting word is run, guys, just run. But thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you
It
for
was
having
fun.
us.
Yeah.
Wasn't so bad, no?
Yeah, you were amazing, and I think you asked great questions. I think you did a fantastic job, and more power to you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Run.
Thank you both for being on the show today. I think today's conversation certainly brought home the fact for me that dreams, of course, are beautiful to have, but the journey to achieving them can be very raw, very real, and often very, very difficult. You know, we spoke about auditions, we spoke about rejection, we spoke about confidence, comparison, power, safety, money. What else did we speak about? Identity. And I think that we have understood that becoming an actress or a female actor isn't just about the glamour or the fame part of it. It's also about having thick skin, self-awareness, resilience, and the courage to keep going when things get tough. For women, I feel the path can be even more challenging because it comes with the added pressure of how you look, how you speak, how you behave. But as we heard today, strength comes from knowing your worth and from refusing to shrink yourself to fit someone else's frame. So to every girl watching who carries this dream, please do train yourself, protect yourself, be financially independent, and build emotional strength. And never forget why you started. Thank you, Huma, for sharing your journey with us so honestly. And thank you, Panchami, I think, for showing us the reality, what happens on the other side of the room, really. This is All About Her, where, you know, we don't just celebrate the spotlight. I think we try and understand the struggle behind it. So until next time, please do stay informed, stay healthy, and we will see you in the next episode.